So the Oscar nominees are here finally, and we have our 8 Best Picture nominees. In today's video, I'm going to rank them from my least favorite to most favorite, and I'm excited. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. You guys saw my reactions yesterday to all of the nominees, and let me tell you, there were some snubs and surprises. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video with the Oscar expert and brother bro. That's coming out tomorrow. But today, I'm taking a look at the 8 Best Picture nominees, and we're going to talk about them and discuss which ones are our favorites. And that's what I need from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know your list, your ranking, which movie maybe doesn't belong in the category for you. And if you saw my 2020 list, you'll see that the order is entirely different because I went back, reflected on a lot of these films. Let me tell you, my opinion has changed drastically. But I will say before we get started, I actually really like this list of nominees. Of course, there were some movies left off that people are going to be upset about, but in terms of the movies that we got, I'm happy with them. And also, this is a personal list, not a prediction video, so the movies at the top of my list, I don't even think they'll win Best Picture. I'll save that for another day, but as of right now, these are just my personal favorite films, the one that maybe resonated with me a bit more. And everyone's list is going to vary and be drastically different. That's part of the fun of making these videos. And of course, this is a very different video from what I'm used to doing. So if you enjoyed it, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below and let me know if you'd like more Oscar coverage. And let's get into number 8 on this list. And never in a million years would I imagine a David Fincher movie being at the bottom of any list. And again, I like this group of nominees, and I thoroughly enjoyed every movie here. And Mank is one of those films. I gave it a good score. I enjoyed the movie. Did it resonate with me as much as I personally wanted it to? Not necessarily, and I think I may even have to dock some points for that. But as a lover of Citizen Kane, the film that this is based around, and the idea that they're going and exploring that concept of the behind-the-scenes drama, fiasco in its entirety, and just the technical elements. I mean, we saw how many nominations Mank got as a film. 10 nominations. Will it win most of those? Probably not, but the idea behind this movie being at least a masterclass on a technical level is one that I'm on board with. The production design, the cinematography, the editing. It didn't get nominated for all of those awards, but it got nominated for a lot of technical elements. The score, right? You combine all of those things with a story that, again, just didn't quite hit me in the way that I wanted it to. I still enjoyed it for what it was, but it's definitely not a movie, at least in my eyes, that I could see winning a Best Picture. And this list isn't that, right? It's my opinions, my least favorite, my most favorite. But out of all of these, unfortunately, Mank is at the bottom, but again, I enjoyed it. Okay, The Trial of Chicago 7. Now, we're at the point to where I gave a lot of these movies very similar ratings at the time, and I thoroughly enjoyed Trial. I know it's getting some backlash, and I understand that people aren't as on board with it as, say, the general consensus was when it first came out, but I still really enjoy the movie. Now, the reason it's dropped a bit, because you saw it pretty high on my 2020 list, it has dropped a bit because, again, the fact that it didn't resonate with me as well as some of these others, and the fact that I just look at the construction of some of the other movies on this list, and this film isn't quite there. Is it entertaining? Absolutely. Did I still enjoy it, at least what I'm seeing, more than most people? Probably. I think the film is really well paced, really well edited, and I just love the cast. The cast is exquisite. I honestly wanted to see more nominees from this cast. It's unfortunate we didn't get that. And the fact that Sorkin didn't get a nomination for Best Director is a bit of a bummer, but you look at who got in, another round, okay, y'all know how much I love that movie. So at the end of the day, I think The Trial of Chicago 7 maybe has a better chance to win Best Picture than most of these movies, but it is lower down on my list because it just didn't quite resonate, maybe as much as some of the others. And I'll be flat honest with you, from here on out, hey Austin, which kid do you love the most? Right now, I'm putting Judas and the Black Messiah at this spot on my list, and obviously that's not to say I didn't love it. I love the movie. It's my number 2 movie of this year. But I just think some of the other movies maybe were a bit tighter above it, and that's the only reason I'm putting it this low. I thought the cast was outstanding. The writing was so on point. I do believe Lakeith's character could have been fleshed out maybe a bit better when it comes to criticisms. That's probably my main one. But oh my God, you look at Daniel Kaluuya's performance, and I'm so happy with the Lakeith nomination. But part of me is like, oh man, I really hope they don't split the vote between Lakeith and Daniel Kaluuya, because I think Daniel Kaluuya should, probably still will, take home the gold and the glory for his performance in Best Supporting Actor. I wanted him to be in the movie more. I've never seen that side of him before, and I want to see it from here on out. He stole the show for me. Absolutely incredible. And this movie really is something special. I was afraid when it first came out, man, I really hope this gets the love at the Oscars, because it deserves it. Got a Best Picture nomination. So happy it's on this list. Y'all, this video is more like a love fest for all the Best Picture nominees, because again, I just think Nomadland is one of those films that just resonates and hits differently. Now, this is probably the movie that I think I'm seeing some people now. Before it was Trial, and now it's Nomadland. Some are saying it's overhyped, it didn't resonate with me properly. And that's understandable, right? Even part of me sits back and thinks, I'm not quite at this point in my life yet. I feel if I was older, I would appreciate it more. Because with vastly different circumstances, it's hard to maybe resonate with this character and what McDormand's playing here and what she's going through. But then to sit back and see what she's going through and experience the world through this perspective, and the idea of taking actual nomads and giving them roles in this film and them crushing those roles. Chloe Zhao made this happen. Chloe Zhao deserves to win Best Director. In personal choice, she'd be very close, but I think she deserves it when she gets that win inevitably. And Nomadland, along with Trial, are probably your two best contenders for Best Picture. It doesn't upset me. I know it's down low on this list, but again, this is a personal list. I'm happy with all of the nominees, and I think Nomadland deserves to be here. It's a special movie. It's a different movie. I know not everyone's going to agree. That's okay. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to go back and revisit it a bit later on. 4 and 3, I mean, just throw it up in the air and see which one lands first. It's Promising Young Woman right now, but oh my God, it's the same score. It's just the exact same. Vastly different movies, but Promising Young Woman gave me this form of entertainment that I just didn't quite find in any other film last year. And I understand the approach is just stylistically different than anything that we're used to with a movie like that. But you take a look at Carey Mulligan's performance, her chemistry with Bo Burnham, the fact that this story goes in directions that you just don't expect. The finale, which I loved, it continued to pull Promising Young Woman higher and higher up my list as the year progressed, or as the last month progressed, because it was one of the last movies I saw that year. But it's such a good, entertaining, well-rounded film that I just had fun with. And sometimes you have to sit back and say, well, you know, maybe one or two issues with the ending, the predictability, but if you're having fun, what does it matter? Not everyone's going to have that level of fun, but I really did. I got a lot out of Promising Young Woman as a film, and to see it get this love that I truly believe it deserves is really nice, especially since it moved up my list so drastically. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm keeping my score, right? All of these films are around a 9 out of 10. Most of them, not all of them. But Promising Young Woman is a movie that really hit me on a different emotional level. Minari is so good. It's so nice to see an A24 movie get this type of love, first off. And then you have the fact that it just hits you in a way that maybe you don't expect. It's such a beautiful movie in terms of hope and dedication, and the fact that this family is doing what they're doing. Well, Steven Yeun's character, is doing what he's doing to give his family a better opportunity, this sense of hope and a motivation to do better. Lee Isaac Chung, the way this film is shot, directed, of course, with the cast, it's beautiful. And I'm talking like visually beautiful, emotionally beautiful, mentally beautiful, and a bit tragic at the same time, especially when you start to see the struggles, the trials that this family is going through. I wouldn't sit back and say, oh, it's the most entertaining movie of the bunch, but that's not the intentions of the film. You look at what the film is trying to do, it's more so the investment in this story with this family. So I absolutely I adore this film. I really do. It feels like what A24 stands for and represents when they allow their filmmakers to do things like this. And it's so nice to see that play out. What an awesome movie. All right, this is going to shock a lot of you, and some of you are going to say, where did that come from, Austin? That wasn't even your top 10 at the end of the year. What are you doing, man? You're not allowed to change your opinions like that. There were two movies I wanted to rewatch because I thought they had the opportunity to move up my list. One of them was Sound of Metal. The other we're about to talk about. Sound of Metal hit me, I think, much more on an emotional level this time around. And I will admit, I watched it the first time and I still got hit on an emotional level, and I was impressed with the filmmaking, but there was something about it. I said to myself, is this going to hold up on second watch? A question that I didn't necessarily even have about any of the other movies on this list. It may be Mank, but Sound of Metal was the other one I'm saying, I just don't know. So I wanted to go back and revisit it because there was something about it that was kind of calling me back to it. Sound of Metal is not only a beautiful story surrounding Riz Ahmed's character, going on this journey with him as he is losing his hearing, is something I never imagined. And that's actually like a consistent theme that is consistent with my top 3 movies on this list, being with a main character or many main characters going through something so emotional and devastating. And with my top 2 films, that is something that will affect them for the rest of their lives. And with Riz Ahmed's character, it is that journey of accepting your circumstances, understanding that your life is not going to be the same way as it used to be. And, you know, it all comes down to where you are in your life when you're watching a movie like this and how you can relate to this character without actually relating to his specific circumstances. For me, that's why Sound of Metal hit me so hard, because his circumstances, while different, it's all about how they hit you. It's all about how they move you. And I think peeling back those layers and really honing in on his performance this time around hit me in a different way entirely. So I had to up my score. I had to up the way that I feel about this film. And I had to be honest with myself and say, it was too low on your list, Austin. I accept that. It is much higher now. And it has genuinely turned into one of my favorite movies from last year. I was fairly astounded with this film the second time around. And oh my God, Riz Ahmed's performance. What a spectacular movie. And finally, we have The Father. Anthony Hopkins, Olivia Colman. This movie is special for so many reasons. It was the movie that first shot up my list just a little bit. It was still my top 10 last year, but I said, you know what, that needs to be higher. And that needs to be a little bit higher than that. And then I went back and, of course, watched my top 2 again yesterday. And it needs to be even higher than that. The Father, I think, is a truly special film to take someone like Anthony Hopkins and to say, this may be one of, if not his best performance. I don't think it's his best, but it's one of his best. That's pretty astounding considering the career he has had, but it's also special when you look at what this movie represents and seeing through the eyes of a man suffering through this disease, losing his memory, not knowing where he is, who is surrounding him, and we are getting all of that through his perspective. I never imagined anything like that could move me so much. And even after losing my grandmother to almost the exact same set of circumstances just about a year and a half ago, I truly thought this would be something that was almost impossible to capture. I don't think it is. You know, a lot of these moments maybe hit me more so because, again, my circumstances, but I think this is going to affect a lot of people in a different way, and it is a bit disappointing when you look at the release schedule and the fact that it's just now coming out. People are finally getting the chance to see it, and not very many people have seen it. That's why I was worried it wouldn't get nominated for Best Picture. But it got nominated. I think enough people have seen it to know how special the movie is. This is my choice for the film I want to win Best Picture. I don't really think it has a chance, but I don't really care that it doesn't have a chance. I just think this film is truly, genuinely special. And the editing is some of the best editing you'll know when you see the film that I've ever seen in a movie, ever, of all time. And that's why I had to put it in my top 5 of last year. And that's why I had to move it up every list. And that is why The Father, out of all the Best Picture nominees, is my favorite. Sound of Metal is genuinely close. The Father, for me, takes the cake. And that is it. That is my ranking. All of the movies that are nominated for Best Picture at this point in time. Again, I could rewatch a film and be like, wow, that movie sucked. It's It's probably not going to happen. But I need you guys in the comments down below. How did these movies resonate with you? Was there a film that got left off? And again, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But as of now, just walk me through your thoughts. I think this is the perfect place for that discussion. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to drop your thumbs up, and if you're excited for the Oscars and you're looking forward to my reaction, because that will be coming. You guys the best. Come back tomorrow for more, and stay tuned because we also have more Snyder Cut talk, and I may be watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier later today. Okay, I'll see you soon.